Can you believe what he said to me? Hold on. Get out of the way! I'm late for school!
You are such an idiot!
Love you too.
Loser!
Anyways, I was up late all last night. No, I was studying. Dude, hold on, he just texted me. That was nothing. I'm gonna call you back. My eyes! Oh no, my license! Whew!
And cut.
Hi, I'm Marlene. And luckily, this was a fake scenario. But in reality, we have tons of distractions while driving, like friends, cell phones, texting, foods, drinks, and not to mention the jerks on the road that cause us to get frustrated. Or we get so complacent that we take our eyes off the road, our mind off of driving, we lose our traction, and we end up in the line of fire. But don't worry, we have a solution. We're taking SafeStart on the road.
I just like driving. I like being behind the wheel and driving everywhere.
Having your firstborn behind the wheel, scary.
I guess I'm a good driver.
I think he's conscientious and hasn't done anything foolish to my knowledge.
Sometimes when I'm weaving throughout traffic, I have a bad habit of texting while I'm driving.
I think that Jay is a very good driver.
I realized, okay, I'm not dead, but he doesn't look so great.
Clear, shot.
Backing out of the driveway and thinking the car's not there, and bang, it's right into the car.
I remember watching some of the videos, that safety videos, that really didn't have nothing like drunk driving.
I don't know why we're so shocked that they're the same as we are.
I like the radio.
I get frustrated.
What do you do at a red light? Well, I hope you stop.
My dad yelling, "No, don't do that, what are you doing?" Blah, blah.
Aggressive. I'm an aggressive driver. Yes, aggressively I drive.
Let's go inside. What's that? Welcome to SafeStart on the road. It's been a while since I was taking SafeStart home, and a lot has happened since then. But even better, here's what hasn't happened since then. I haven't had a single injury at home, at school, or in my quest for a black belt. That's right, I have a license to kick butt. But that isn't what makes me dangerous. This is my license. Like most of you, I took driver's ed and passed my driver's test with flying colors. But here's the problem. Larry Wilson, a world leader in safety, reports that every year, over 40,000 people die on the road, in the US alone.
You start thinking about 120, 130 people dying a day, 44, 45,000 people dying a year. Almost all of them had driver's licenses, were certified, if you will, and a great percentage of them actually took driver's ed. That doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong with the driver's ed, but it obviously isn't quite enough. In other words, maybe there's something missing from the traditional driver's education courses.
Sure, driver's ed teaches you the basics of how to operate a vehicle, the laws, and how to pass the driver's test, all contained in a neat little book. But just like safety expert Larry discovered, when an accident happens, it's not what's in here that causes the accident, it's what's in your head that causes it. Like when you rush, get frustrated, or get tired, or when you get complacent. You know, you stop thinking about the dangers. you focus less on driving and more on other things. So, what Larry found was states of mind like rushing, frustration, fatigue, and complacency lead to critical errors. Eyes not on task, mind not on task, being in the line of fire, and losing balance, traction, or grip.
Rushing is simply just going faster than you're used to going. So speeding is part of rushing, but there are all sorts of other forms of rushing. A quick lane change, a quick decision, I better get off here because I see traffic's jamming up ahead.
Well, when I rush, I'm focusing more on getting where I need to be and not necessarily where I am at the moment. So I don't always pay attention to all my surroundings because I'm just trying to get there as fast as I can.
Typically, when you hear about frustration as it relates to driving, you hear about things like road rage or aggressive driving. But that's hardly the end of it. I mean, how many times have you gotten in the car already frustrated because of something that happened at work or something that happened at home or maybe something that happened out at the ball diamond?
Stress from school, fight with a friend.
Yes, I do get frustrated, and it's when, like, if me or somebody in the house gets into an argument, like right before I go somewhere, then I get mad and I just go in the car and then just get frustrated.
Fatigue, first of all, is probably the most deadly of all those four states, in that, when you think 25% of the fatal car crashes are because somebody fell asleep at the wheel.
When I'm tired or fatigued, I'm not thinking about driving, even though I am driving, but I'm probably just not really thinking much.
Complacency, simply put, is the fear is no longer preoccupying, and so your mind can wander.
There are times that, we all become complacent. We don't think about what we're doing.
I work, so on the way home from work, sometimes I don't even have to think about where I'm going. I just kind of go.
Eyes on task is eyes on all relevant tasks and not on irrelevant tasks. Changing the radio station is not a relevant task. Texting people while you're driving is not a relevant task.
As far as eyes off the road, I would say, especially with my son and other teenagers, are their cell phones and their music. That's it in a nutshell.
Well, when I'm driving and I see a cool looking car, usually I want to see who's driving it. Someone's got a Mustang and I'm like, oh, I'm jealous. Or sometimes I see a girl and I'm like, hey, and I look at them a lot and I'll pull up and I slow down next to them.
Mind not on task is you're not thinking about what you're doing.
If I go to church and I have to learn a song and I haven't learned it all week, I'll put it in the radio real quick and learn it on the way to church, so I'm concentrating on the words and not really concentrating to the road.
Line of fire is simply being in the path of the hazardous energy. What could hit you? But when you're driving, you also have to think about what could be in your way or in your line of fire as well.
I was traveling too close to the car in front of me, and two cars in front of that car slammed on their brakes, and so the cars in front of me had to slam on their brakes. And fortunately, I was able to turn my wheels sharply to the right as I was slowing and get out of the possible line of fire that I was about to rear end someone. And that was because I was traveling too close to the car in front of me.
Balance, traction, grip, the last critical error, it's pretty straightforward. And for driving, we're not really too concerned with balance. Mostly it's traction, right? But again, you can see how all of these errors could, you're not looking where you're going, or you're not, it starts to rain, but you don't think about the decreased traction.
When it first starts to rain, there's oil on the roads, from people driving. And the oil, the rain makes it lift up, it's floating on the concrete. So when there's a fresh rain and you first drive on that concrete, it can be slippery and you can lose the traction. Or if you're driving on ice.
The thing that you see then is that these four states cause or contribute to these 4 errors. And when you make one of these 4 errors, you increase the risk of whatever you're doing, especially if you're moving, which is most likely the case when you're in the car.
And what do our parents say to help us deal with these states of mind?
Be careful, don't speed.
Every time I say, I'm leaving, okay, drive safe.
You know, drive carefully, you know, I want you to be safe.
My parents always say be safe and be back on time. Pretty much the only thing they say.
I always tell him to please be safe and to pay attention. Drive safely.
Being safe, when they say that, that means, you know, don't act stupid and do what you know you're supposed to do on the road.
Unfortunately, once we get our license, we generally don't talk about driving safely again, unless we get in an accident or get a ticket. But even if that doesn't happen, the most parents say is be careful or be safe as we take off for school or work. But on a morning when I wake up late, I'm rushing. Then my hair won't cooperate because I fell asleep on it funny while I was up late studying. So I'm frustrated and tired, and I'm sure not thinking about driving safely.
Huh?
Great. I'm rushing, frustrated, fatigued, and complacent. Can you see why mom or dad saying be careful or be safe is just a waste of time? The natural reaction is to tell people to not rush. Who doesn't rush from time to time? Or don't get frustrated. They don't know my boyfriend. Don't drive when you're tired. Yeah, right. And don't get complacent. Kind of hard to do when you don't even realize you're complacent. Duh. But here's the strength of SafeStart. Look at the back of your card. Critical error reduction techniques. Here's how it works. Look at the first technique. Self-trigger on the state. That means if you find yourself rushing, frustrated, or fatigued, instead of thinking about getting there sooner or your unreasonable boyfriend or getting some rest, you think about the errors. Eyes on task, mind on task, check line of fire, and watch balance, traction, and grip. If you make a mistake or have a close call, instead of using your horn, use your brain. Duh. Analyze to check and see if you've made an error or what state you're in. It will keep you from agonizing over a real accident later. Like they taught you in driver's ed, use the watch others technique to stay away from bad drivers. But compare their bad behaviors to yours. Use these techniques to watch your friends who may drive and rush, get mad, tired, or stop focusing on the road. Finally, work on your habits, like always, moving your eyes before you move, or waiting until you park to do your makeup, talk on your cell, eat, whatever. Finally, watch the line of fire and be prepared to lose your traction or grip in bad weather. But it's not enough just to know the state's errors in cert techniques. If you're driving, you have to react fast. We gave SafeStart cards to our teen drivers and their parents and had them take a quick online course. And look what it did for them.
Eyes on task can mean many things. It can mean, checking my mirrors, looking down the road, looking at other cars where they're going to be turning, just making sure I'm in the best distance away from any other cars.
Well, I feel like he's more serious behind the wheel now. After taking the course, he was able to focus more on the task at hand.
I've learned to pay more attention to my driving, to not getting distracted or paying attention to other people. Like I need to pay attention to who's around me, but not looking at the boys or stuff like that.
That gives me more confidence in her being a better driver, that she's paying attention to the road and than the boys.
A new habit that I picked up on is making sure that I look before I just move the car. Make sure I check the lanes before I start to get over, because that blind spot there. And so now, instead of just looking through the mirror, I take a quick look just to make sure.
I have caught myself self-triggering when I'm driving. I'll get complacent and start listening to the music and watching other things that are going on, talking to friends, and then I'll be like, wait a minute, gotta pay attention to the road, gotta pay attention to the other drivers, because something can happen in a split second and if I'm not paying attention.
She's internalized this stuff. It's a positive instead of the negative. Oh, I should do this. Now it's more I want, it's more of an I want to do this because I want to be safe.
If you're fatigued and looking out and having your eyes on task, it'll get your mind focused and help to keep you awake because you have so many things going on.
And also it helped me too. It helped me be more conscious of my lax ways.
Now I think of mind on task, eyes on task, and still try and deal with them.
Well, now when I rush, because I still do rush, I mean everybody rushes, but now I can learn how to keep my eyes, on the road and on task, and that, I don't do the close calls like I used to and cut through traffic. Now it's more of not trying to get there on time, but more just trying to get there safely.
The conversation is very positive. It feels like, my mom wants me to get to where I'm going and get back home that night, and she actually knows something to say now versus just be safe. Because be safe kind of just goes through one ear and out the other most times because you're in a rush, you're trying to get into the car and get to where you want to go, and you're not really thinking about what be safe actually encompasses.
I went ahead and I called him, and I wasn't thinking that he was driving. But when he answered, it occurred to me he was driving, so I just said, call me as soon as you get to where you're going. And so that way you can keep your mind on task.
Through the SafeStart program that we've been through, we can more gently remind them rather than seem like I'm lecturing them. It'll be more of an encouragement or a reminder.
I think now that we've both taken it and understand that we can help to remind each other, to focus on the 4 points and the effects, and that would help us to be safe.
I think other teens could benefit from SafeStart the same way that I have, just because it focuses more on the safety of driving versus, getting your license and getting out there on the road. You need to know what to do once you get out on the road, and SafeStart helps teach that.
It shows me all these different things. I thought driving was just, pay attention to your surroundings and stuff like that, but there's other factors to it and other things that you need to do. Instead of that, you need to focus on yourself and other people. So it'll help me.
You think about not making critical errors then, and it just all falls into place.
So, we highly recommend you take the course. Log on and take the course and learn the concepts until they're second nature. And get your parents to do it too. They'll learn to give you better advice than be careful. Plus, as old as your parents are, and to slow the progression of old age, it wouldn't hurt for them to learn something new. See you next time, and keep your eyes and mind on task. Keep your eyes on task, mind on task. Watch through the line of fire.
I don't want to lose my balance, traction, or grip. Cause baby, if you don't start safe, you're bound to slip. Eyes on task, mind on task, line of fire.